Basic Math, Chapter 13, Section 6, Problem Solving, Choosing a Scale. So graphs can be drawn to present different messages. For example, Sports Palace wants to show that it sells more skates than the competition. Which graph should it use and why? So the whole point is that the Sports Palace wants to convey a message it sells more than the other places. So let's take a look. Let's read. What do we need to find out? Well, which graph is better for the Sports Palace? Step 2. Make a plan. What do we need to do? We need to look at each graph, compare the length of the bars in each. This one's long. That's not as long. That's not as long. This one is pretty small, and then they just get smaller. Step 3. Do your plan. So we looked at it. Now follow the plan. So we looked at graph A. The number of skates Sports Palace sold looks greater because the difference between the lengths of the bars is greater. So that's the idea. The scale in graph A makes it appear as if the sales are better. So the Sports Palace should use graph A. I know we had to move the screen a little bit, but can you see if the scale is 1, 2, 3, 4, and Sports Palace sells 3,000, it still sells 3,000 here. But if the scale is intervals of 2, that goes up to 10, most of the space of the graph is empty. But if we draw out the scale to make the numbers look more different, a greater comparison, we can see the line going up and filling more space is better. And then we have the difference in size between these two looking much more dramatic. This is only a very small amount of space in relation to the other lines because the interval is in 2s and the thing goes all the way up to 10. So this line is much longer than this line, and the difference between Pro Locker and Sports Palace looks bigger as compared to this one because the interval here is 1 whole difference. Here the intervals are 2, so you're looking at just half the line. Let's practice. We gotta read the problem about the graphs shown and make a plan. Do the plan to solve the problems. Graph A, graph B. So they're both giving us the same information. The ice rink skate rentals. This one has the price in dollars with their interval being 1. Each line represents 1 more. This one shows the price in dollars, which each line representing an interval of 2. And the years. Number 1, the ice rink wants to show customers that prices have not increased very much over the 5 years. So which graph should it use? Which one shows us the price hasn't changed that much? So let's see, how can we show this? How about the yellow highlighter? So this line stays mostly between these two intervals, only moving up there in the very last year for 1999 behind that one interval line. This line, let's see, it goes all the way through that line of intervals and that line of intervals, and then when it gets to the last one, it's up higher even still. So if we filled in the last one, just to be fair, we can see that showing that the prices have not increased very much, I would use the graph B because the line looks much flatter in B with the interval spread out further. And you could say that the line stays within one interval a lot more than it does when you have the interval of 1 in the other line graph. So we can see this is fairly flat, where this goes up more sharply. The only thing that is different is that this represents each line one at a time, whereas each one of these lines represents two at a time. The information is the same, it's just how you see it. So this would be graph B. And then if you wanted to show how prices have increased over the 5 years, you'd use the opposite one, graph A. And the reason would be that the line goes up more steeply, whereas line B is much more gradual. There's more practice for you to do in your workbook for chapter 13, section 6. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.